Wake up. Stop slurping your coffee.
That's how you're supposed to drink coffee.
Okay, let's just get started.
Hey, we're back.
Welcome back to the podcast. Happy Friday. Hey, we used to record every Monday. Now we're on this Friday schedule.
I know, we got backed up. Let me get a little intimate.
It's been a little
here.
busy.
What? Just get a little intimate here with you. Oh, sorry. Excuse me, guys. I got my laptop charger here.
You got Jerome's a mess right now. He's so lost in the stocks, he's not even functioning anymore.
Hold!
Stop.
Hold!
Stop. You don't know how that's going to sound for the listeners of the podcast.
I just blew up their ears.
Dude.
If they're listening with headphones.
Jerome's been obsessed with the stocks the last couple days. It's
Diamond hands, baby. It's red panty night. Let's go.
I don't even know. I got nothing. I don't even know what to say.
It's been a wild week in the stock market. Welcome to Trading with Jerome and Sarina.
Okay, no.
Here we go, guys. Let's start off with... I'm just kidding. Anyways, yeah, that's been a fun story and saga to follow for the people that are looking in the news right now.
Everybody.
It's been fucking crazy.
Everyone should be fully well aware.
It was all over the socials. If you live under a rock, you probably still heard of it.
Yeah, definitely.
But it kind of made the week go by so fast. Crazy week when it came to
honestly, all it did was damage our relationship. Okay? Every time I look at Jerome, he's on his phone, and I'm like...
looking at the tickers.
But the worst part is, I'm like, what are you doing? And he's like, oh, I'm just checking my stock. And I'm like... okay, it's like 11 o'clock p.m.
I bought a couple stocks. I quit my job. I'm an entrepreneur now.
Okay.
I quit my job.
We're like watching a movie, like anything we're doing, and you're just like obsessed. And I'm like, hey, hi, hello.
Hey, money doesn't sleep.
I'm right here.
Money doesn't sleep.
I get zero attention. Jerome's obsessed.
It's been fun. Excuse me. It's been fun to watch, though, to be honest.
It's not helping our relationship.
I'm trying to take you to the moon with me.
It's not gonna work. I'm not gonna be there by the time you get there.
I'm trying to take you to the moon, babe. I'm talking Buzz Aldrin, Neil Armstrong. That's his name, right? We're going to the moon, baby.
Okay, moving on. Anyways, this week's been really busy.
It has been. It's been going by so fast, and I was like, dude, why is time going by so fast? And I keep saying, I think it's because, babe, I need the timer.
I know. Keep talking. Jerome's phone's constantly going off. I could imagine it's messages about stocks. So I'm just going to show you a awesome little feature that I have. It's called Do Not Disturb. You swipe it on, you shouldn't be getting any notifications.
It doesn't work.
Anyways, keep going.
There you go. Turn them off.
Keep going. Keep talking.
What did I say? Oh, I said, dude, time's going by so fast. We don't know why. And I was like, dude, it's going crazy. And I read something online that said, like, time's going by so fast because the world's spinning faster. I don't know if that's true or not.
Sure.
Isn't that science?
I mean, I don't know. I'm sure. Yeah, I mean, it should be. But I'm so interested, like, how much faster, because time is fucking flying by.
Dude, it feels like just yesterday it was Thanksgiving.
But if you break that down, it's like, okay, but we still have 24 hours in every single day.
I don't know. I don't know.
I think it's just like a COVID quarantine, like what is life at this point?
Well, our routine's pretty much the same. We wake up, we drop Alex off at school, we come home, I go to the gym to work out, so he stays home and works. I come home and I help, I clean, you do work, we do work, dance. It's like around 5 or 6. Dinner, we eat, we sit down, watch some TV, go to bed.
Yeah, every day.
It's so weird because that's usually not how my day goes, because usually I leave at night to go to jiu-jitsu, like on a regular life routine, and I just come home late.
On certain days, yeah.
Yeah, it's just, it feels weird. Like I'm never at home this much.
That's true. Yeah, that's interesting. I didn't really think about that.
It feels weird. I feel like I just got lumped into that life.
What life? The normal life?
Gosh,
this is what, when we say this is what normal people do.
I don't like it. But
well, yeah. I used to always be doing like some sort of studying or something at night too. So now when I'm just like relaxing, I'm like, oh wow, okay.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, it's interesting, especially because Alex goes to bed at 8 o'clock. And we're just like hanging out until like 11 or so.
It's cool though.
It's nice. But yeah, I mean, here we are. It's Friday. We just recorded a podcast
last weekend or
over
last
the weekend.
Sunday.
Yeah, on Sunday.
Dude, it's the 29th, so basically it's February.
It's February, yeah.
Which is crazy, dude. When did we start filming this podcast?
Oh, I don't remember.
In August?
No.
I think it was in August, September. Before our wedding.
Wow. Time's flying. I didn't even realize that. So much has happened. You know, I got a notification on my phone that was showing me like what was going on this time last year. And I was like, oh, holy crap. So much happened in this last year. It feels like a fucking lifetime. And yet it went by so fast.
Dude, we're almost like at the anniversary of quarantine.
Yeah, it's insane. Because I was thinking our memories were from our old house where we lived. It was like my Facebook memories. And I was like, wow, so we moved, like within 2 months of COVID happening, we moved, we came here, like so many things. And I mean, all the stuff with COVID and then getting married, getting pregnant. Like, you know what I mean? We went to Mexico.
Dude, honeymoon.
But just so many things have happened. It's wild.
I'm stressed now. I'm just kidding. Good
I told you we're going to have a baby like tomorrow.
Oh my God. Don't say that.
Our due date's June 5th.
Feels like it though, right? Next thing you blink and it's June.
I forgot to tell you, the doctor said, because we had our 20-week ultrasound, even though I'm 22 weeks, almost 23. And she was saying, I was like, well, according to your ultrasound, it also says that my due date would be moved a little bit. And she's like, yeah, just ignore that. She's like, it's not valid anymore. Like,
it's going to be June 3rd or June 6th?
No, she said, she was like, you might have a baby right at the end of May. And I was like, that's what we want.
It's going to be
perfect.
June 3rd.
Anyways, so that's it. That's our week. What are we talking about today?
I mean, you're the runner of the show, babe. You tell me.
Yeah, but this was yours. This was yours.
You didn't let me type it out? I'm at the freestyle. No.
It's better that way. Sorry, I have a squeaky ass chair.
You gotta.
Maybe that's your maintenance.
I'll come fix it later. My tool belt.
It's awkward.
Just my tool belt. Just kidding.
Alex goes to bed at 8.
Let's go.
Just kidding. All right. Anyways.
This is weird. And cut that part out.
Go.
I thought it was cool. So first, of course, everything that was happening this week with the GameStop and all the craziness.
Yeah.
We've been talking a lot about money and all like the craziness that's been going on. But
I think it's super cool that people are talking about stocks.
Right? But that's like a separate topic that you go in, like you listen to other people for that shit. I'm not no financial advisor.
No.
But what I was going to get, my point is, what I was going to get to and what my point is that I was like, dude, how cool, like that was like popped up in my mind and I was like, why don't we talk about like your business and like how you got to like where you got and like what you did to get to where we are.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because it's cool to get to a point to where now you're like, oh, it's like you get to a certain point and then it's like, oh wow, you need to start making investments, right?
Yeah.
So now you need to start investing in stock and like we've talked about like real estate and just different things, which I think is super cool because it's like it's like the beginning is like you work to get stable, right? Be comfortable, and then you work to have like a savings, and then you work, and then you have to get smarter and smarter and smarter, which we're not here to talk about that. We're just starting to do things like that ourselves, but I think that's super cool.
We'll come back to that.
Yeah, later.
That's next year.
Let us make some money off of it first.
And then we'll come back and give you our advice.
We'll give you that advice.
But what we do know, what you do know, is how you did quit your job, which was a regular 9 to 5. And how you went from that to like your own business, self-employed.
Yeah, you know what's so cool? Okay. What is so cool is I have a client, a business coaching client in my group coaching program.
Yeah.
LCC, the Limitless Coaching Circle. And we had a call the other day and she was like, okay, I decided. And I was like, what's up? And she's like, I'm going to quit my job. So her 9 to 5 job. And she saved like $50,000 so she can quit her job. She's like right there.
Yeah.
And she already made all these investments. Like she hired me as a business coach. She did like all of these certifications and programs and has all of this incredible stuff mapped out for 2021. And I'm just like, holy shit, like that's next level. You know what I mean? She just turned 25.
Wow.
Has $50,000 saved,
awesome.
Quitting her job. She's going to go do yoga teacher training in India.
Holy shit.
Planning.
During COVID?
Well, I don't know when she's going.
Sorry. She's like my first put off. Fuck.
But awesome, she's planning to do that in India. She's also going to travel the United States for 6 months. She's just doing all these cool things. And I was like, fuck yeah, like like, those are my conversations. You know what I mean? I was like, let's do this. Like, your business, let's get it down. You're good. Make money where you travel the world. Show me your friends
and I'll show you your future.
I
just heard that.
You did. But that's true. That's a very common saying.
Yeah.
But no, I just thought that was cool because just seeing someone follow their dream like that, and because a lot of people were like, that's not realistic. That's what I was just looking at. Mm-hmm. People are like, oh, people tell you all the time, like, don't start your own business, or it's not realistic.
So it like brings me to my point. You never like to talk about this, but I think it's fucking crazy and cool. It like makes me want to start from like the very beginning. Yeah, see, like she hates talking about it. She just wants to talk about when she started her 9 to 5 and quit that and then started her business, which isn't even the beginning. That's like part 2.
Okay.
So basically where it started is like, I want to start like, maybe this was before she even knew who I was. So this started when Sarina was like 18. This is a Sarina podcast.
This started when? Is this a Sarina interview?
This is a Sarina interview. This started when she was, I want to say, sorry guys for rambling. I want to say she started when she was 17, 18. And from there, you had Alex when you were 18?
Yep.
Sorry, she's doing something. She's having some technical difficulties.
I'm going live on Instagram, but it's funny because do you guys notice how well, they don't know. If you're watching this video, if I touch my phone or look to the left or to the right, you get so distracted. Yeah. You're just like, what are you doing? What's wrong? Are you okay? Is everything good? I'm totally good. Everybody. No, just you.
Sorry, guys. Anyways, like I said, she was 17, 18. This was before she met me, so I don't even know who Sarina is at this point in my life. She doesn't know who I am at this point in her life. So, I mean, this is our love story aside. This is just Sarina's journey, right? Because no one wants to hear that. They already did.
We did a podcast on like our relationship,
which is a fun story. But this is like her business side, which I think is pretty cool. So basically, you're 17, 18. How old were you when you had Alex?
18.
She was 18.
I was 17 when I got pregnant. I was 18 when I had him.
So that gives you a little background. Also, like, you got to go even before that, because if you know Sarina, you know her upbringing, which isn't the most normal upbringing, right?
This is like a live interview of Sarina.
Yeah, right? Because it's your story, though. It's what's cool.
Yeah. No, yeah. So I'm super transparent with my story and like where I come from and all that good stuff.
Every time I bring it up, she's like, no. It's so funny.
It can be awkward talking about yourself sometimes.
It's a story that I think it's cool and it needs to be told.
Yeah, no, and it does. And I'm a big proponent. I always tell like my clients and individuals, like, there's a lot of power in your story. Yeah. And I'm happy that I'm comfortable sharing it.
I hate it though, because it seems like I'm trying to gas you up. I am your husband, but I also think your fucking story is cool.
No, like, and you were like, this is something that it's like you were saying in your own words, like the underdog story. Like it needs to be told to
some Rocky Balboa
inspire
type
other
shit.
people. Yeah. And that's what I do.
The dark horse of Rocky Balboa.
Anyways, so with that being said, so my upbringing in a nutshell, and very quickly, I guess you would say, I grew up in a poor family, welfare, food stamps, all the things, drugs all around, drug addiction problems with my siblings and my parents and people around me. So with that being said, I grew up very independent. That is one thing that I would say I got out of that, is my mom raised me to be very independent. And so instead of joining in on what I seen all around me, there was something in me that said, like, run the opposite direction, I guess you would say. So, like, that's my upbringing. A lot more twists and turns in there. But, with that being said, my parents separated when I was, like, 5 years old. My dad passed away. He was murdered when I was 10. He was, like, the love of my life. So it was everything to me. And then my aunt passed away of breast cancer, and she was my other favorite person in the world. And so me and my mom had a rocky relationship, because of course, who do I take it out on? My mom, even though it wasn't her fault. And now I feel so bad as an adult. I'm like, wow, now. She was really just trying to do her best, and she had her own, so to speak, demons she was dealing with. Yeah. So that's my upbringing, in a really light, that was a light version. So that was the quick version. But I think from there it was,
or even something else. It's like at some point in your life, you weren't even with a parent. You were with your mom.
There was a lot of years where like family members raised me.
Not even your parents, not even your family.
One of my best friends, I grew up with my best friend, and her family took me in for a period of time. I lived with a couple of friends.
I say this to draw parallels because you see Alex's upbringing. So Alex is our son. He's 8, and it's like I can't even imagine Alex going through something like that because he
it's crazy.
Loves us and he wants to spend all the time with us. And it's just like this is how crazy like your life is, dude.
Yeah.
How it's been. It's funny too because when you talk, you're 26, just turned 27, guys.
Just turned 27.
A couple weeks ago, maybe a week ago. But it's just like, dude, you've lived like fucking 10 lives. It feels like. Right?
I have clients who are like in their 40s and 50s, and they'll oftentimes, when we first start working together, they'll oftentimes tell me like, I just can't believe you're in your 20s.
Dude, I say that.
They say it over and over and over, but it means a lot to me because I have lived a life that, at an accelerated rate, you know what I mean? And that's why, like, when Jerome says, like, if you look around at who my friends are or who I talk to the most, they're usually, I'm 27. My friends are usually in their 30s or 40s.
That's hilarious.
Other moms and wives and people and just people who have experienced life,
Crazy.
Which is funny. But yeah, so, but with all of that being said, of course, now I know why I ended up with the person that I ended up with and had Alex I got pregnant when I was 17. And now I can look back and understand how that dynamic came from my upbringing. I think now looking back, I basically recreated in a way maybe my parents' relationship, which is what we do. We tend to do that. And so that happened. Had Alex when I was 18.
Yeah.
Became a single mom when he was 3 months. Technically, I was a single mom from the moment I was 5 months pregnant, which is crazy because I'm 5 months pregnant right now.
That's crazy.
Isn't that wild? I thought about that the other day.
I'm about to leave. I'm just kidding.
Are you going to the gym? Are you going to get me a pizza?
Just trying to make it light, guys.
Yeah, no. It's crazy.
I'm going to go buy some milk.
It's been exactly 10. I'm 27. I was 17 then. So it's been exactly 10 years.
Wow.
And to the T right now, which is pretty wild. But yeah, so from there, I moved in with my best friend. My mom lived in a different state at the time, so I was by myself. I moved out at 17.
If you stop and think about how just crazy that is, like 5 months pregnant, you're doing all this crazy stuff alone.
I had just graduated high school. I graduated
17?
early. Yeah.
Dude, that's wild.
Yeah. And that's why, to this day, so I moved in with my best friend. She had been my best friend since kindergarten. Her parents, I call my second parents.
Yeah.
They really took care of me a lot in my life. So much gratitude for them. But with that being said, from there it's a rocky relationship, right? You're young-minded, naive, you're lost, you're alone, all of these things. So I went back and forth with that relationship. And then it was Alex was 3 months old and it was okay, this is it. This is the end of that relationship. And I moved to California. Mm-hmm. To live with my mom, who was not doing so well. So it was a really sticky time to raise my son and live in her household. And that's when we met.
That's when I came in. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, because I met you and I got a job. A friend got me a job at Chipotle.
Wow, dude.
So I got a job at Chipotle. I was still 18. Yeah, I was 18, you were 19. Met Jerome.
Keep in mind, I had no clue. I knew that she was a mom, which didn't bother me at all.
Which is why I never thought I would date Jerome. Because I was like, he's cool. He's in college. He'd never date me.
I didn't know that's your state of your life at that point, which is insane.
If you knew, though.
I don't know.
You're Jerome. You'd been like, oh my God, yeah, let's do it.
Anyways, yeah.
No, yeah. So we met. We were working at Chipotle together, and wow. From there, it was my biggest aspiration at that point in my life was I wanted to work for a bank.
That's crazy.
I wanted to work for a bank. I knew you could make good money working at a bank. One of my best friends, she lived with her grandmother, and her grandmother had worked at a bank since she was a teenager, and they were, to me, in my eyes, they were very wealthy.
Yeah, just to give an idea of Sarina's state, you were 18, mm-hmm. You moved to California, she didn't have a car.
No,
right?
Of course not.
Yeah, you think this is crazy. This is stuff people don't even realize. They're like, oh, well, it's not that. But you didn't even have a car, dude. She was taking the bus. She was taking the bus to work, and she would work in the morning. What time would you wake up to go?
I think it was like 4:35. It was a 2-hour bus ride from where I lived to get to work.
Which is crazy because it's probably like a 15-minute drive.
Yeah, the bus ride was long, man. It was so long. So I would leave my son with my mom, and she would watch out. The problem is, like, a lot of times I would leave, like, just in tears because it was like she was the only person there to support me, but there was a lot of drugs and a lot of things going on in the household, and it was kind of like, that is like makes me emotional because I know what it feels like to be stuck.
Yeah.
And you have no other option, and I had no other option. Like, it was like, I remember telling my mom, like I have no choice. I have to go to work because I have to feed myself and my child.
It's tough.
And so I can't not, like, I have to leave him. I have to go work. You know what I mean? Like, This is life. But I do feel like in meeting you, that was a cool thing, was like Jerome was able to, like, almost keep me young. He was his age, which is kind of funny because when I met you, I thought you were like, this was Jerome. He was in college.
Stop.
He was in college. He was like this good kid. He had a great family. He was working to pay off some tickets he got.
Dude, it's funny because me and Sarina's lifestyle was completely opposite.
Yeah.
I have a regular family, amazing parents, amazing brothers and sisters. I had the most stable upbringing, which is wild, dude, because Sarina's like the complete opposite. But
yeah,
go on.
No, yeah. And so, I mean, from there, we started, like, hanging out that December, so it was like 2 months after we had met.
Yeah.
I don't really remember from there. I mean, eventually I was able to buy a car. I saved up. I remember I bought my Honda Civic. It was $2,000.
That's lit.
And there was eventually, so then I moved out of my mom's house. I moved in with a friend who had her own place with her boyfriend, rented a room from them. I think it was like $300. Mind you, we live in the Bay Area.
Yeah.
Rented a room with her. That was good for a few months. Quit Chipotle, got a job at the bank. Big dreams happening here. Started working for Wells Fargo.
What happened that made you want to switch your job, though?
Remember, I always wanted to work for a bank. Like, that was my goal. So I got a job at the bank. Man, when I think back, I think I was making, like, I went from making, like, what, $10 at Chipotle to making, like, $14 at the bank. And that was, like, big for me.
Big deal.
Big deal. And it was cool because I got to, like, dress up and look nice. It was, like, professional. I was a bank teller.
And you were living, like, we're talking paycheck to paycheck.
Oh,
right?
Less than.
Like, right? Yeah.
Yeah, of course. So then from there, that's when I was working at Wells Fargo, and you got me into weightlifting.
Right.
Yeah. And I wanted to lose weight for the first time. I was so insecure. I mean, I never lost my weight from having Alex. And so he was about 1 at this time. And so I wanted to lose weight. You got me into weightlifting. And then I was working at Wells Fargo, and that's when I started getting really into health and fitness.
Yeah.
And there was one fitness influencer who I remember saying, if she can do it, like, so can I. And it was the first one that to, like, really motivate me to, like, I wanted to help other people. So what happened was I started sharing my progress on Instagram with no agenda. Like, just started sharing my health and fitness. This is on my personal Instagram account.
Yeah.
And I started losing weight, like 5 pounds, like every single, like, couple of weeks. And then I eventually lost like 35, 40 pounds, which you wouldn't even feel like on my body, but I did. And then after I did that, I was like, I want to help people. From there, I quit that job and got a job in property management.
Well, you got time out because in between that, your housing situation got all messed up.
Yeah.
So basically
my roommate was a psycho.
Her old roommate kicked her out, basically.
It was crazy.
So this is
because I wouldn't pay their internet bill or something.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Either way, it was a disagreement.
Yeah.
What had happened was she basically got kicked out, and Sarina at this point was living paycheck to paycheck.
Yeah.
Like you said, with less than making.
There was no way I was going to get my own place in the Bay Area. It was kind of at a point where I told Jerome, like, I don't have anyone to watch my son. I don't have enough money. I can't get my own place. Like, I might have to move back to Washington because that's where I had originally came from.
I remember that.
Yeah.
But then, I don't know how this worked out, but I mean, it sounds a little dramatic to say this, but you can say that Sarina she was with me, so I guess you could say we were, but
yeah,
you were at like almost like, I don't want to say homeless, but you didn't have a home.
I didn't have anywhere to go, so I would have had to go back to Washington because I had family there. And so that was a point where, of course, Jerome's coming in hot. I swear if my son ever comes home with this shit. He went home and asked, it was actually his brother's house, who like his parents lived in that home, and he asked his brother or his mom, like, you talk to your mom, I assume, and talk to your brother, and said, can Sarina stay here for a little bit?
Yeah.
While she like figures things out. And they said, yeah. And I paid them rent, and I paid to live with Jerome's family in the living room.
Which is crazy.
Which is like full circle, because when I lived with my mom in California, it was like me, my mom, my two little sisters living in a fucking living room. Like, can we get out of the fucking living room? But we did that. And me and I don't remember those days at all. I swear, I think I blocked them out.
That's how bad Sarina was at her life.
It was so awkward, but it was
that house, I think it's a 4-bedroom, and there was people living in every room.
Dude, full ass family.
Full house in that bitch.
Yeah.
And Sarina was living in the living room, like no room.
That's crazy to think.
I remember they would put the couches together.
I can't
and make
believe
it a bed.
you asked your family to let your girlfriend with her kid live in.
That's crazy.
After, like, I refused to meet his family for a year.
Dude, yeah.
Because I didn't know. There's no agenda of how to date with a kid when you're single.
And
so
18.
Eventually, like, I met his family, and then a couple of months later, it was like, oh shit, Sarina's homeless.
Yeah, pretty much.
So, anyway, so yeah, I was living with your family, and then your dad and your sister worked in property management, and they were like, come work with us in property management in the Bay Area. And so I played around with it, and I did. I quit. I got a job, started working in property management from like the bottom as a leasing agent. But I share all of this together with my fitness story, because it was like, I started losing weight. I started saying, oh, like, I can do this. I want to compete. I did a bodybuilding competition. I started building up my confidence.
You got your own place back?
Not yet. So I started building up my confidence, and then I got another great job. So every time it was like Chipotle, Wells Fargo, property management. So each time I was getting promotions, like better.
Level up.
My confidence and my fitness. And then I was, in this time, I started becoming all consumed in my mind with, like, oh, I want to help other people too, but I wasn't there yet.
Yeah.
So then I went back to college, actually.
Oh, you did, yeah.
I went back to college, and Jerome's mom would watch Alex. So I would wake up, I would drive, I would commute like an hour and a half to work. I would start work at 8 or 9, work 8 hours, so you're there 9 hours with your lunch break, and then I would commute like an hour and a half, 2 hours home, because Bay Area traffic can be insane.
Yeah.
2 hours, but I would actually go straight to school. I was taking night classes, and I was doing that like 3 times a week or so.
In between going to the gym in the mornings.
And I would go to the gym at 5 a.m. So it was like 5 a.m. gym, 7 a.m. leave to go to work, come home from work, but go straight to school, do that 3 or 4 nights. I was going to school full time.
I remember there's a time where you're going to the gym so early in the morning, like 5 a.m., 4 a.m., like crazy.
Yeah.
I'm talking crack of dawn, roosters.
Right when I started getting into fitness.
Yeah, roosters hollering. And then someone stole your purse.
Oh,
you remember that?
They broke into my car.
Yeah, that's crazy. At like 3 or 4 a.m. That's how late she was going to the gym.
Yeah.
Right?
That was super scary.
People are like, what the fuck was Jerome doing during this time? I was working and going to school too.
But yeah, so then during that, I would come home and I would go to night classes, and then it wouldn't be until almost like 8:30, 9 o'clock, and I'd go pick up Alex, because I had then gotten my own apartment. So I lived with your family for maybe like 2 to 3 months.
It was like 4 or 5.
No fucking way. It was not. There's no way. It was, I want to say maybe 3 months. And then I had gotten my own apartment, but now the commute from your parents' house back to my house, from it was like Union's Newark to Hayward.
Yeah.
Dude, it was like 45 minutes with traffic.
Traffic's crazy.
Even at 8 o'clock at night. So I'd go to school,
crazy.
come home, and then commute. So we'd get home at like fucking 9:30.
Dude.
And then I'd have to meal prep.
Yeah, dude.
And then go to bed, and we would do it all over again. And so that was those years. And then I did my first bikini competition, and that is, if you ever go look at our YouTube channel, if you go all the way to my first video, that's when I made it. When I was like, this might help someone, and I started documenting my bikini prep and getting like really just like, I want to help people. And then I think it got to a point, I got promoted in property management once or twice, like probably like 3 times, and then it got to a point.
It's cool though, like, because it's kind of like, I don't know, like when you were in property management, the way you were able to keep leveling up and leveling up and leveling up.
I got promoted like every year.
Like you could draw a parallel to that in like your business though, because
Yeah.
It's hard, dude. It's not easy to get promoted and shit in that job. And I feel like if you stayed in it, you'd be making racks in that job.
It was a good job.
Right?
It was a really good job. I mean, now I hate property management, but that's because I love what I do.
No, but what I'm saying is like to plant the seed on what big of a risk it was in like 3 or 4 years when you fast forward and you actually quit your job, because I don't think people understand like how well you had your job and like how good you were at it and how much more money you could have made doing that job.
Well, so this is when I was still in college. I had gotten promoted from like the lower level to like an assistant manager. I got promoted like 2 or 3 times. I was finally like a senior assistant manager or something. And it was that point where it was like, oh, okay, so I'm going to school for a business management degree, and I have my son that I have to take care of, and I have my own place and my own expenses and all these things. I had gotten my first like new car. Mm-hmm. And then I realized, what am I going to college for? Because I was looking at the salaries. My income from working since I was 18 had grown. And I remember thinking, if I graduate college, which is taking me 8 years versus 4 years for like the average person, which, you know what I mean, going for 4 years to get your bachelor's degree. And I realized, shit, I'm going to have to take a big pay cut after I graduate so then I can go start in the corporate world at entry level and work my way up again. And I was literally like, I can't afford to do that. Like, there's just no fucking way. So at that point, I started my health and fitness coaching business. Yeah. I was a fitness coach, and I was starting to get things moving there.
Sorry to cut you off. We also moved a couple times.
A lot.
We moved like 1, 2, 3 times, I think, in between all that.
Yeah. Better places. We like moved into a newer apartment building, and then we moved into a house.
Yeah.
But my point is, that's when I dropped out of college. I was like, there's just no way. I was already making too much money in my job to me, it didn't make any sense. And with that being said, I was like, I could see my business going in the direction that I wanted it to go, even though I was so far from it. Like, I wasn't there, like where I am now. Yeah. But I kind of made that decision, like, I'm going all in. Like, this is what I'm doing. And there was no going back for me. Like, it just wasn't set up for me to just, like, go to college and then, I don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so, like, we got to the point where we were living with my sister and her fiance. At the time, we were just all boyfriend girlfriend, right?
Yeah.
Kind of funny. Anyways, we were living there, and then there was a point there where you had switched your jobs up.
Well, it was all property management, though. I was just switching jobs.
But I think it kind of gave you a glimpse of like how much you didn't want to do it. And how
I hated the new company I was working for. That's also when I wouldn't say I was depressed, but I was really, really sad. And looking back, I'm not sure the full extent, but I remember like we would like bicker more. I think we were both just super unhappy with what we were doing for a living. Yeah. Like, I was starting to get really unhappy with working in property management. I was super into fitness and doing YouTube and like really trying to do all of that. And that's when I started gratitude journaling. Yeah. I started doing every single evening. I would write down in my gratitude journal. I'd go to the room and you would always like give me my space, and I would write down 3 things I was grateful for and why pertaining to that specific day.
We're hip to it.
Dude, I'm telling you, I did that until I started feeling better. And I did. And I quit that job.
She quit.
Like, fuck that shit. Manager was terrible.
It led us to
Spain. No, just kidding. We actually took a trip to Barcelona.
Oh, yeah. Actually, I quit my job because
you quit your job because they wouldn't approve his PTO?
Yeah, they wouldn't. And I remember that's when I also was like, dude,
we're done.
I hated someone telling me that I couldn't go on a vacation. I worked so hard. Like, you work all those fucking hours, dude, and like
they deny your vacation.
You drive an hour there, you drive an hour home, you get home so fucking late. And then I'm like, let me take a week so I can spend time with my wife and child and fucking just relax. Like, I earned this shit. And they said no. Yeah. And I remember thinking, like, dude, who the fuck? I'm a grown ass man and they're telling me I can't go on vacation. Like, like, what is going on with my life right now?
So you quit your job and I quit, but I had a new one already.
Yeah.
No, yeah, that was cool. And then we went to Spain, and now I want to move to Spain. So.
She wants to move there for a little bit. But anyways, that's a sidetrack story. But
what happened from there?
We moved again.
We went to Santa Cruz.
Yeah.
That was awesome. And that's really where I feel like everyone more so knows my story.
Yeah.
Like, we went to Santa Cruz, and the reason that we moved to Santa Cruz was because I was like, this job will allow me the time. I wasn't working from home, but like, we lived in an apartment on the property that I was managing. So at this point now I'm a manager. And we lived in the property I was managing, and the office door was like right outside our apartment door. So I can go back and forth all day. And I was able to focus more on building my business while still bringing in full-time income. And Alex was starting kindergarten, and I needed to be able to drop him off and pick him up and go to his school events. And it was like literally a blessing from the universe.
Right.
It's the best job I could have ever had.
It was cool. You really liked that job, right?
That's also...
Well, you didn't like it, but it worked in your favor.
Yeah, no, I did. I think... And I say a lot, like, when I say property, I could have stayed in property management and made really good money and kept going, like, you know what I mean?
Like I was saying, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, 6 figures and up, and even kept growing. And the thing was, it got to a point where I was evolving as a person. I had hired my first business coach that year. Started really working on my health and fitness business, online coaching.
You got yoga certified?
Dude, I went to yoga teacher training. All of these things were pulling out like a passion in me and like this fulfillment. And like every day then I'd go to work and it was miserable. And I was just like, why am I wasting my time sitting in this job? I literally feel, and the thing about it too was it was so natural to me. Like I had been doing it for like fucking 6 years at that point.
Yeah.
Doing property management was so natural. I could get everything I needed to do in my job done in 2 hours, but I had a 9-hour day. And so then I'm just sitting there. Like you worked property management, you know, you can just sit there.
I wasn't as good though.
And I worked alone.
Yeah.
But I worked alone. There was also no one there. And I'm just like planning vacations and shit. Like, what am I doing? And then.
I guess like to stop there and ask you a question, like what. Like you said, it's so easy to do. Like you could have sat in that job and made more and more and more money.
Yeah.
And still probably kept it pretty simple.
And like a lot of people do that. Yeah.
What made you want to quit that and do something that basically was unsecure and what people would tell you not to do and be like, dude, stop, don't do that. Like just do this. Like you have insurance, you have all this, like you have a good like 401k.
Dude, I had a whole ass family.
Yeah.
I think it was for me what's most important in my life. I think it was I want to be fulfilled. I want to feel like I have a purpose. I don't want to waste my one life. Like going through yoga teacher training, guys, you think it's just teaching you like how to teach a yoga class. It is like next level personal development. Like I changed a lot through that. And even if it was just in the online space, I was surrounding myself and I was investing. I remember I hired like my first coach for like $5,000, and then I hired another one, and I was joining circles and surrounding myself online with other people doing what I wanted to do and people trying to do that. And so I always tell people, I'm like, do you know someone else who's done that? Like anything, like you want to do something. I'm like, cool. So do you know someone else who's done that? Okay, cool. Let's talk about it. Let's break down. Cause like in NLP, it's like study of like successful people. So pay attention. And so I think I started to have this like itch in my like soul where I was like, I'm not fulfilled sitting here doing whatever the fuck it is I'm doing, collecting money. I don't even care. Like I don't even need to make this much money. I want to do something that like gives me purpose, and that's helping other people. And at the time, really, it was like at the time it was helping people with their health and fitness, but I knew that because in my life, health and fitness was the one thing that like skyrocketed I literally attribute my career success and relationship and everything to my health and fitness, because it was when I started taking care of my body, all of a sudden, then I achieved my goal body, and then now I want to focus on my health. It's two different things, aesthetics and health. And then it was like, my mindset, oh my gosh, my mindset, oh my gosh. And then it's just like you tumble, and it's like you evolve into this like more conscious, just better human being.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And with that, how can you not consistently level up?
It's a lot.
That's why like I always knew I wanted to be a life coach, but at the time I was like, I'm not successful. Like I can't be a life coach yet.
Yeah.
And so it took like 3 or 4 more years, and then I eventually did that. But
I remember when Sarina she told me, she's like, I'm gonna do this life coach thing. I was like, you can't be a fucking life coach. No one's an expert in life. I was like, what the fuck, babe?
Jerome's coming hot with the takes all the time.
I hate the word life coach, but...
Yeah. I mean, life coach is really just someone who has the tools to guide you with more so like your mindset and where you want to go in life. Like,
remember that lady at your job? That was
oh my God, she was a life coach. She was like what people think of. I'm going to have to make a video about that. But you think of when you see life coach like an old lady, like... I don't even know.
No record,
so
dude.
Different than you think.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think from there, I mean, that was a great job. And I sat at that property for like 2 years. But the whole time I was just building my business.
Plotting.
Yeah, it was really, and I think about those years now when I help my business coaching clients, because there was so many days where like I'd go home on my lunch break to eat and just like burst into tears and just like, why is it not happening for me? Like I remember so many times I had a couple friends who were also building their businesses, and I would like message them and tell them like, I can't do this anymore. Like, why isn't this working for me? Why is it happening? Like one of my friends, I remember she hit like her first 10K month, and she's like doing fitness coaching, and we had started at the same time together, and I'm just like, what the fuck? But what I didn't realize is like her relationship was in shambles, and all she did was work 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, didn't turn off. She was miserable behind the scenes, really struggling. And here I was like, I actually had a good life.
Yeah.
Like I had a family, and I was working, and I was, you know what I mean? And it's just, I always try
But also you get everything
when it's supposed, that's what I'm saying, is like I always try to remind people like, everyone's so different. Like your story is different, and you think you want someone else's success, and you have no fucking clue what's going on behind closed doors.
Yeah.
You have no idea. You don't want their success. You want yours.
Yeah, and you'll get it when you're getting.
That's what exactly.
People don't realize it. They want that overnight.
You don't realize it until it happens to you, and then you're like, oh.
Yeah, you don't want that. You don't want what they got. You want your own.
I also look back at a lot of milestones from there because I'm like, I wasn't ready.
See?
Like even now, like there's certain points in my business where I look back and I'm like, well, I wasn't ready to work with that many clients. I wasn't ready for that amount of income. I would have wasted
Guys,
it all.
I tried to tell her, so she said she was crying. I told her.
No one could tell you that.
I told her like on a spiritual level and everything, and she wouldn't hear me out. She's like, I'm gonna go hire another coach. I was like, all right.
I was always looking for the next damn.
She thought something else, but I tried to tell her it was all inside you.
Yeah, but it takes at least, I don't know, you guys tell me. I'm the type of person who a lot of times have to experience it for myself. Mm-hmm. Like there's so many times I could look back and say, I just wish I listened to my mother. Like she really had my best interest at heart, but I didn't. And I was like, what are you talking about? I know best. Yeah. And then I learned it. And then I'm like, wow, Mom, you really got my back.
I hope she hears that.
But yeah, I mean, from there, what was it? 2019. So we sat at that property for a couple years. I was building my business. And,
a lot of ups and downs.
Yeah, 3 business coaches, a lot of programs, a lot of different stuff happening.
Learning and failing.
Yeah, learning and failing. And then we traveled a lot too, which is super cool.
Yeah.
But then from there, I quit.
Yeah, that's where it is.
Fuck it. So, and the topic of this podcast was really like finances and like how to prepare yourself to quit your job or to become an entrepreneur or take that leap.
Yeah, my point of telling the whole story was so people understand like
where you come from.
Yeah, I feel like no one ever sees that, and like Sarina hates talking about it, but I think it's so important. Dude.
I don't hate talking about it, but it's just like
I think it's important because I feel like everyone sees this, sees the person you are today, but they don't understand where you came from, and I feel like that's super important.
I always tell my clients, I'm like, you guys think I'm kidding when I tell you, like, I was the brattiest, most firecrackery, also very negative. I used to say, I'm not negative, I'm a realist.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
That's Sarina?
Now, sometimes I go, am I being too positive? Am I being annoying? But yeah, so I quit my job. That was super fucking cool. When I was planning to quit my job, I had already had 3 months of consistent income, like consistent months hitting my income goals that I wanted in my business. So it was like record showing like, okay, this is working. We got it. And I had 3 months worth of savings in our savings account. So like it's like 3-3, right? So you save 3 months of expenses. You have like 3 months of like, okay, your business is like every single month you're hitting your goals. And then take the fucking plan. At that point, you'll still never quit. Like, I literally am so glad I had a coach to say, okay, let's do it. You're doing it. Quit, go in,
I was like, and even at that point, she still wouldn't quit.
No.
She was too scared.
No. Well, because you're always thinking, oh no, but like in 2 weeks, I'm going to get that $3,000 check. Yeah. Which when you look back, it's crazy because, and I told Jerome this, I quit in the month of, I gave my notice in October. I quit at the end of November, and December and January, I like doubled my income from my 9 to 5.
It's crazy.
Literally was like started doing so well because I had the time and the energy to show up and to help people. Mm-hmm. And that's also like, people are so weird talking about money, and I it's one of those things, but it's like talking about sex. Oh my gosh, sex? No, we're all doing it, but no one wants to talk about it. Like money, we're all trying to make it, but no one wants to talk about it. What the fuck? So, but I think, well, it's true. It's sex and money are two things people don't like to talk about. It's like a well-known fact, but
it's like you walk up to someone, how much you make? People are like, what?
Dude, you don't ask that question.
Yeah, you don't say that.
It's very private.
It's rude.
But I think the reason that I mentioned money is because people don't like to talk about it, and yet, like I said, everyone needs it and is trying to make it. But my point that I want to make is what happened, the reason I was able to do that after I quit my job is because when I had my job, my time was being taken up with that job. And so I didn't have the time and the energy to put in to reach more people and to help more people. I didn't have time to help clients.
Yeah.
So when I quit that job, I freed up my mental time, literally, and my literal time, and I was able now to show up and do what I love. And if I didn't charge a certain amount to make money to put food on our table and replace my income, I also wouldn't be able to keep coaching, because people also want to do everything for free once you become a coach. Like, no, I'm just going to do everything for free and help you for like $50. And I'm like, yeah, cool. Well, then you're not going to be eating, and then you won't be helping clients for long, and you're going to have to go back and get another job. So there's like this, that's where like the money mindset comes in. So, yeah, I mean, and then that's it from there. And then I did like my NLP certifications and life coaching and all the things, and started life coaching. And dude, and that was February, 1 year ago today.
Almost, yeah.
And then COVID hit, and then we moved, and then we got married, and then we got pregnant, and then we went to Mexico, and then here we are having this podcast.
That's funny.
And then I started doing business coaching. Literally, because it's more recent. Like, and I didn't like go in. So now I do life and business coaching, and I didn't go in with the intention of like becoming a business coach. But people started reaching out to me and saying, "Hey, can you coach me on like how to do what you've done?" And I had already spent like $40,000 on myself and figuring out my own life and business, and so it kind of was just natural of like, yeah, I can fucking help you. And then I started helping people, and they started doing so good, and then it was like, why am I not helping more people? Like, to me, and this is very biased, but I'm like, okay, your health and fitness is one thing and your life is another thing. But like, what's like one of, like I said, this is biased, but what's one of the biggest ways that you can unlock your potential? Like, just become fucking limitless in your life. Like, take the cap off. Be your own boss. And not everyone needs to be their own boss. I hate when people are to be an entrepreneur. No, we're not all meant to run our own business. But if you are, and you are called to that, I just realized, like, hell yeah, I want to help people. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it is the best feeling in the world. Like, us being able to work together now. We're having a baby. Like, we get to be, you know, today I was at the vet, and the tech, I think, was talking to me, and she was telling me how she has a newborn at home. And I drove away thinking, like, man, she has to go to work, and COVID right now, and just all these, it's scary to come home. And I was like in tears. I told you, like, I was listening to an Oprah podcast about gratitude. Girl had me crying. But I was just so grateful to think of, like, last January, we set the goal. You're going to help work with me in the business. We're going to work together. I wanted to get married. We wanted a bigger house. We wanted to have another baby. And the vision was that we would be able to stay home and raise our kid together. That's exactly what we're doing. And that's fucking crazy. And that's the end of the story. But really, it's mind-blowing. But I share all of that. My big philosophy is, and if you go all the way back to the beginning of when I first planted the seed in my mind of helping other people, I seen someone else and said, if she can do it, so can I.
I think the quarterback Russell Wilson also said that.
So that's why I'm like, when you hear my story, one, know that it wasn't all rainbows and butterflies.
Sunshine.
I like to say rainbows and butterflies.
Rainbows and sunshine and rainbows.
No. What is it? What's the quote?
It's sunshine and rainbows.
Rainbows and butterflies.
Okay.
Anyways, but my point is that if you hear my story, I want you to know if I can do it with all the shit, which we only skimmed over it, so can you. It's the same thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the whole point of all of this. And if you're a business owner, there's a little bit of strategy in there on how to actually responsibly quit your job.
Yeah. I mean, that's what you do, right? You map it out and stuff.
I think that's the biggest thing I learned too.
And guys, read these books. So you can do that with our Audible child and Cafecito. Just throw that in there real quick.
The link's in my bio if you're on Instagram. I actually gave that to someone today. They were like wanting to get an Audible, and I'm like, I have a link in my bio for free Audible credit.
Yeah, you should have to sign up through the
Yeah, just use it. But the last thing I guess I would say is that's one thing I learned more recently. I realized looking back, I'm like, I hired all these coaches and did all these things, but I didn't learn none of them were like who I wanted to be exactly. And you have to work with someone who at least has like the bigger vision or business or life that you want. So like now I'm really big on setting up my business around my family, like my kids. I take weekends off. As a matter of fact, after this podcast, I'm fucking done.
Well, I still have to upload it. I'm off.
So, I mean, I'll check my messages and then unplug, but my point is like setting up your life and your business around whatever it is that you desire. And whether it's a business or your professional life, like, you know what I mean? There's a lot of parallels. So if I could do it, so can you.
Sarina does it all, guys.
Get that tattooed on your forehead.
If I could do it, so can you.
If I could do it, so can you. That's beautiful. I love that. That's it. That's the podcast. That's what we got. Story. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Jerome, and all of this stemmed from talk of stocks.
That's how it starts. Hold, boys and girls.
Oh my goodness. I don't pay any attention. I'm just like, this is so annoying.
It's our next level, babe.
Okay. All right, you guys. Well, we're going to let you go. Happy Friday. Have an incredible weekend. We'll catch you next week on the podcast. Bye.